I want to thank Fianna Fáil and particularly Deputy O'Callaghan for bringing this motion, and I welcome the opportunity to make a brief contribution to it. We're not talking about the Youth Diversion Programme, which is a brilliant programme. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the young people who did not fit into that programme, who committed crimes ranging from the public order offences to very serious crime like rape, and who weren't followed up. And in total, that was 7,894 crimes by 3,489 children. That's what we're talking about here, and how that happened, how it was discovered, how long it took, and what we're going to do about it. Now, it's already been mentioned that a very brave Garda and a public-minded Garda raised this in the first place and asked for the Professional Standards Unit to come in, which happened. Those inquiries took from October 15 to June 17. I don't know how it could have taken that long, Minister. That's a question. Then there was a nationwide probe, and that took from July 17 up to January of this year for the report. We should have that report before us. We don't, and we should have it. Now, in relation to those children, of course our sympathy goes to the victims who suffered, and actually those victims that didn't come forward and give a statement, which is a greater number of the crimes that weren't prosecuted as well. But in relation to the children that were ignored and not followed up, in addition to the victims, 57 of those have died. And I think the Policing Authority, rightly so, has expressed sympathy for both the victims and also for those children who committed the crimes that weren't followed up. And it's really an indictment of our society that number of, and that's only a small subsection of the numbers that have been given out today. We're doing something seriously wrong, Minister, in relation to this. But what stands out for me as well is that how many of the crimes, the crimes that weren't followed up, how many of them were reported as solved? I understand that a substantial amount of those were recorded in the Garda's crime as detected or solved. Am I wrong about that? That's what was reported in the press. That's very worrying in the context of the tribunal we've just completed, the Charlton Tribunal, that talked about honesty, visibility, pride, the obligations. He listed them out, the 7 obligations on Gardaí. And in the light of the various problems we've had with statistics, generally from the penalty points and the breathalyzing, and then, of course, domestic violence. And in a sample lately in relation to domestic violence, we found out that the figures were most unreliable, and indeed the Central Statistics Offices suspended entirely the publication of crime data back in 2017, and they've resumed it again, but only with caution. And they have serious concerns in relation to the nature. These are the issues that are jumping out for me in relation to this matter.